Happy birthday to you. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's a very special update for the Max Nano. It's its first birthday, so we are a year in with this tank, and it's been a really good tank. So I'm going to quickly run through first all of the mods and all the equipment that's on it, then the livestock, and then possibly some good and some bad things about the tank itself. So this was a Sea Max Nano without the cabinet. I wanted to put it on my own piece of furniture, which just about holds the weight, although it's slightly bowing and could be a bit precarious. So definitely don't do this without checking first. It needs a solid bit of furniture to go on because of the weight of it. So the stock tank comes with this Red Sea LED 50 light, and every single one of the corals that you see here were pretty much one-headed frags. So I think it's pretty clear to say, and a fellow YouTuber called Reef did state this light can grow SPS corals, and this tank absolutely confirms that. So it's a mixed reef with loads of different types of corals, but these ones here are easy to keep SPS stony corals, and all of them have grown over the time. So that the light works. Do I think it would grow better with an XR15 Radion? Absolutely. And I think maybe if this tank stays long term, we could try some different options on that one and maybe sell the Red Sea 50. I've never had a Kessel, so the idea of one of them is quite interesting as well. So the light works. If you want to keep anything up to this sort of standard of coral, it'll work. There's not really many outside of this that it won't work on, and when you get to that level, you would probably build your own tank anyway. So the light works fine. It comes with the stock skimmer. I haven't got the auto top up because it was absolutely useless and lasted a couple of days. There's a tiny little plastic mount here that has been 3D printed. Now, this is a quite well-known mod for these tanks because the overflow at the back of the tank, if I just take this lid off, this overflow at the back of the tank isn't very deep, and the moment the water goes over, it kind of splashes into the rear chamber. So there's a little mod that you can 3D print, which, to be honest with you, there's about 400 different places that now have them and can print them. It's an absolute must, and it means that the overflow system works well at the back. I have completely removed the filter sock, and I use a 3D printed plastic, I'm sorry for the filming, plastic little grate there over the top of it with a bit of filter floss just chucked on top like that. That lasts about 3 days and then gets replaced. It keeps the water crystal clear, although there are still a few bits popping around in there after giving it a clean up for you guys for this video. So that's how I do it. It's a little bit more intensive, but it keeps the water crystal clean. In the rear of the sump, underneath the skimmer, there is some biomedia, so the biospheres, and that helps with surface area, and they have worked really well. I've never had a problem with any sort of ammonia or nitrite spikes. Then goes to the stock skimmer. I've left that in there, which is this. Works really well, I've found. A lot of people change them out, but I've never had a trouble with it. Takes about a week and fills it probably half full of gunky water, so it's doing something. And then in the last chamber, the return chamber, there's usually some carbon, which is in a bag, and I'll sometimes put some rower phos in depending on the phosphate levels. Then you'll see here, there's one dosing line and one auto top-up line and a temperature probe that come in there, and I'll show you them in the bottom in a minute. Inside the tank, the return comes from here, obviously you can see it, which gives me a really nice surface agitation on the top of the tank. And I then have put two power heads inside here, which are currently covered in coralline algae and really purple. That's a AI Nero 3, and this is a Turbo Nano Stream 6040. Both do a really good job. Both are on like a pulsing mode, so we have a bit of a sway and a wave in the tank, but it does mean that the bottom stays nice and still for the soft coral. So you can see the Duncan, which is an LPS coral, it's just moving a little bit, but not too much. So it gives a nice turbulent flow around the top of the tank, but the bottom's a little bit more serene for the softer LPS and soft corals. Below the tank, I've fed a 6-port power point through the back of the cabinet, and that has all the sockets for it. We then have the auto top-up system. You can see the little pump in there. This is just a Pets at Home in the UK. That's like our Petco fish tank. It's about 12 litres. It lasts about 2 weeks for me. It's really, really good. And then for dosing, so we obviously have hard coral, so all of our alkalinity, calcium and magnesium gets used up. For dosing, we have a bubble maggots pot there with a dosing liquid in, you can see there, and a DD P1 doser, which you can see there. And I also had a little 3D mount rack printed for that, just to mount it, because believe it or not, it doesn't come with one. Dosing about 10 to 12 mils a day currently of Tropic Marine all for Reef. The only other dosing that I do is, I don't have it here, I wasn't very prepared. The only other dosing I do is once a week I put a couple of mil of Vibrant in, because I had a bit of bubble algae which is receding now quite well. And then I'll also put some iodine in, just a mil and 1.5 mils a week. And then I've done some ICP testing to make sure it's not sort of overdosed. So from that point of view, it keeps the water parameters really stable. I do a water change probably once a month of about 35–40%. So quite a big water change, but only once a month, if maybe even once every 2 months. And I only do that because just want to refresh the water in the tank. The nitrate levels never seem to go above 2 or 3 in this tank. The phosphate, if it goes up, I just add Rowaphos. So other than that, it really looks after itself. It's been really easy to use. Occasionally the nitrate will get quite low, so I can increase the feeding, and sometimes when I increase the feeding it goes up a little bit, but if I'm not confident that it's going to be high enough to risk, because I don't want to risk dinos and get into 0 nitrate, I might put a few drops of Brightwell's Neo nitrate in, just to bring the nitrate level up, because getting 0 nitrate is not a good thing. So I'll try to aim for 3 parts per million. Sometimes it goes down to 1, but other than that, that is chemically how the tank works. Livestock wise, there are 2 clowns, a Royal Grammar and this little wrasse in here. If you watch all my other videos, this was a rescue wrasse from the new tank that I've put in the kitchen, the big Red Sea Reefer 425, because it was being attacked by a Quinque Vittatum wrasse in there. So we saved it, dumped it in here, and now seeing how it goes, it's working really well in here actually. If it pecks away at stuff, it seems quite happy, it feeds well. Obviously it's not the ideal tank size for it, so long term we'll either have to try it back in the bigger one or take it back to the pet shop. I also have, believe it or not, another wrasse in here, which is the yellow sulphur wrasse, which came in here as a small one. It's now got bigger, but I cannot catch it for love nor money to put it in the bigger tank, so we'll keep on at that one. But yeah, the fish are fine. I'm not really too mad fussed about fish, if I'm honest anyway. What I really like are the corals, and as you can see in here, we've got a really nice mixed reef of corals. Starting from the bottom, we have the couple of sets of zoas. These are all closed up because I've just cleaned. You can see some nice rainbow coloured zoas there. This Duncan head came with like 1 or 2 heads on, and there's hundreds on it. It's on its own island because I didn't really want it to take over the tank, so it's got its own little frag plug or frag rock stuck into the sand, and it's filled itself with as many heads as it can possibly get. But it's a lovely, good indicator coral as well. Fungia plate here, which is really beautifully coloured. It's really orange, but the lens that I've got on the camera doesn't do it much justice. And then there's some Clove Polyps that are all closed up because I've cleaned the tank. But again, they're not really performing, these Clove Polyps. They are quite nice and colourful, but they never seem to come out much, whether they're clean, not clean, whatever. So again, all of these they all came as tiny little frags borrowing the plate. Here's a little bit of Red Monty, which is not really grown massively, but it came on a tiny little frag plug and it's encrusted round. So it is growing, but I do think that the stock in here needs a bit of a stronger light at the SPS to grow a bit quicker. Got some more bits along here. These all have not really grown very well. They're all pretty similar, and they've been in the tank about 4 months now. Not really coloured up well. Can't remember the name of them all. I'm really sorry. I'm not too much of a geek when it comes to the funky names that we give all these corals. This hammer coral's gone nicely. It has closed in a little bit, but it's grown another 2 heads since I've had it. And when it bushes out, when it's really happy, it's crazy. It looks really nice. So that's gone really well. You can see the coralline growth in here. It's completely taken over that top bit. I'll scrape this panel, can be scraped at the back, so I do that regularly to the pieces I can get it to, obviously not there. But just as an instance, for instance, see the colour on the power head here, this purple, I basically bathed this in citric acid about 3 weeks ago, and it's completely covered again already. So it's really, you can tell that that's why we're getting good growth on the SPS, because calcareous growth, or I think I've butchered that, happens when you see coralline algae appear. So onto the SPS at the top. Oh no, sorry, another LPS here. Candy canes, they are great. Got that as a two-headed piece. That's just grown like hell. So that will probably go into the new tank at some point. Then we've got a green plate, Monty plate, which has grown up and grown out, and that started as a tiny little piece on the side. I've actually, believe it or not, trimmed a section of this off at the front here recently to put it as a tester coral in the new tank. So this is growing well, but it's growing upwards, so that to me suggests that the light's not strong enough in this tank. So again, that will probably come out, or a big piece of it will come out to go in the new tank. And then on to one of my favourite corals, the easiest SPS to grow, Stylophora. I absolutely love it. I just love the way the polyps grow. It's not the most colourful, it's not the most expensive, but it grows and it looks really nice. So these are two brown coloured ones, or purpley coloured ones, and then a green one here, and all of them started as tiny little frags. So you can see back to the video a year ago when I put these in, they're all tiny 1 or 2 headed colonies. Then we've got some forest fire digitata, which is very, very pretty red colour, and some staghorn and Montipora stellatas, and another red Montipora at the back there. All of them have grown out. I've actually taken a trimming off of this one as well. This had another extra large arm coming out here, which is now in the new tank as well. So that is an update on all of the livestock and the corals and the equipment. This tank's really easy to keep. I mean, the only thing that you do get in here is a little bit of cyano every now and again. You can see it maybe just behind that coral as well, so I'll blow that away. I don't want to treat it with the sort of cyano RX or chemi-clean, because I know that can strip a tank quite a lot and it's not really a massive problem, so I just kind of leave it, and it never really overwhelms the tank at all. So that's really the only algae problem I have. I've taken the conch out of here that cleans the sand and put it in the new tank, because I had a bit of an algae bloom in there, but that will come back in here. And other than a couple of snails and a shrimp, which likes to hide down the back there somewhere. Can we get him? Completely camera shy. You can see his whisker, that's about what you're going to get off him, I think. Maybe through there. You can just see the cleaner shrimp there. Barring him, that's it. That's all I have for the clean-up crew. And as you can see from the rocks, it keeps it really clean. I think the vibrant's probably helping, but I had a tiny bit of bubble algae here, which you can just still see, it's still there, which started to grow quite quick in the space of a couple of weeks. So I very quickly put 2 emerald crabs in, which are the other things that I completely forgot to mention when it comes to clean-up crew. And the vibrant, that's sort of stayed at bay as well. So happy birthday to the Max Nano. Okay, so that's it, the Max Nano. Please do pass on your comments. Please give me any suggestions that you might have for the tank, anything you'd like to see. Like and subscribe to the channel. I've just ordered a load more frags to go in the new Red Sea Reefer 425 XL. It's really come along nicely, so I'll have an update hopefully at the end of this week on that, and we're going to start growing corals in that as well. So really exciting time in the Pool UK Reefer household. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon, and see you on the next one.